So, I've had a lot of people requesting that I watch Tarnished Archaeologist. In fact, it's been commented by multiple people on like every single Elden Ring video that I have put out. So, we'll see how that I mean, I'm really excited. I've heard this, like, I don't know if it's so much a theory as much as it is fact. I don't really know much about it. So I'm sure this video will help me understand it a lot better, because I just haven't looked it up and nobody's told me. So here we go, I guess. I'm interested to see what he has to say. Everything had changed and was buried deep in ash like snow. I never expressed any fear, but only kept going by the consolation that the whole world was perishing with me. Nice.
The golden Erdtree is the dominant visual feature of the lands between for its many inhabitants, and serves as an omnipresent reference point for the player character as they explore the land's many domains. The thesis of this video is that the original Erdtree is dead, having already been burnt during a specific past crisis, and that the current version of the Erdtree we see in-game, the toweringly impressive golden form we all instantly recognize, is nothing but an illusion.
Really?
A persistent object of faith and reverence despite the fact that its age has clearly passed. When we enter the capital city of Leyndell, we are greeted by somber melodies, oracles trumpeting the arrival of a new lord, and a visual spectacle unlike any we've seen. A city worthy of the Vikings' awestruck description of Constantinople. Quote, "We knew not whether we were in heaven or on earth. We only knew that God dwells there among the people,
Wow.
and their service is fairer than the ceremonies of other nations." End quote. But as we explore the city further, we begin to notice the unmistakable evidence of a prior cataclysm. Yes, there is that one.
Yeah.
But beyond Grandsax's entry, we see a city in despair. Soldiers roam the streets or sit in resignation, having apparently long abandoned their patrols. Piles of ash clutter the streets and obstruct pathways and arches. The source of the ash is clear, as we see at the end of the game when the current version of the Erdtree is burnt. Leyndell turns into a capital of ash.
Yeah.
And perhaps most curiously of all, yellow wax seals the doorways and windows of the houses of the capital.
Oh. I noticed that. I didn't know why.
Paint a very specific picture. Ash has accumulated on the ground all throughout the capital, so much so that its citizens have taken to sealing their doors to prevent the ash from entering their dwellings.
Oh, shit.
This brings to mind the practice of families in the American Midwest during the catastrophe of the Dust Bowl, who would seal their windows and doors in vain attempts to prevent the incessant dust from entering their homes.
Good luck. It finds a way.
So, the Erdtree was burnt once before, and it is the source of the ash in the contemporary version of Leyndell. The prior burning event was so destructive to the working of the capital that its citizens took very specific measures to counteract it, but are nonetheless left in the sorry state that we find them in-game. But then, what is the current version of the Erdtree that we see? Well, the golden seed item description makes it clear. Quote, "A golden seed found at the base of an illusory tree. When the Elden Ring was shattered, these seeds flew from the Erdtree, scattering across the various lands, as if life itself knew that its end had come."
You know, there are actually trees out there that need wildfires to reproduce. They have, it's actually really scary. When they're exposed to excessive heat, like from fire, they explode, shooting seeds all over the place, which then get planted in like all the ashes, like, because like the ash from forest fires is so fertile that the regrowth is like insane. So like wildfires are very, very natural, like part of the cycle. It's interesting to see how some plants have actually grown to require it to even reproduce. So I think that's really cool. So that's a cool thing with here. It's just something interesting to note.
End quote. This item description explicitly tells us that the golden trees under which we find the golden seeds are illusions, the implicit juxtaposition being with the minor Erdtrees, offspring of the Erdtree, which we can see are made of actual physical wood and bark. Furthermore, the Blessed Dew talisman description reads, quote, "Talisman depicting a drop of the Erdtree's sap, a blessed boon. It was once thought that the blessed sap of the Erdtree would drip from its boughs forever, but that age of plenty swiftly came to a close, and with time, the Erdtree became more an object of faith." End quote.
Yeah. Posted something about the bird. Yeah, the firehawk. Yeah, firehawk. But this is more of like a Celtic-based game, I guess. I mean, I guess they pull from all over. But as far as I recall, this is a very Celtic game, not a very Australian game. But firehawks are still very cool. I believe they do use wildfires because it brings prey out. It's cool. It's cool as hell. We should learn about them
rather than
too.
simply succumbing to the inevitable decline of all living things. The swift end to this bountiful age indicates a specific destructive event, which we now know is the first burning of the Erdtree.
First burning.
When it was replaced with its current form, the golden spectral illusion, it became merely an object of faith. Indeed, we even know of another example of a golden illusion that anyone who's played the game will instantly recognize. The first Godfrey fight. The Godfrey that we fight in the first encounter is explicitly referred to as Godfrey the First Elden Lord, a moniker referring to his past glory, and the axe he wields in game is unbroken.
Alright.
Contrast this to his second corporeal boss fight as Horalu, and we see the broken axe, which we know specifically was, quote, broken in a battle fought as leader of the Tarnished during the Long March, end quote. If the axe was broken during the Long March, then the first Godfrey fight must be a golden illusion conjured of him prior.
Okay, see, I was wondering what was the deal with this fight. I didn't know what the heck was going on, especially considering we do end up, like, fighting his real self and... Okay, this makes a lot of sense now. That's actually really cool. I like that. I like that a lot. Neat.
To his tarnishing, at the peak of his powers. Unless there be any lingering doubt about its prior destruction, the current Erdtree even contains a sliver of its original form, the small window of bark and wood at its base. This is all that remains of the original Erdtree's form. This gives new meaning to the descriptions of the sacred tier, which read, quote, "Blessing of the Erdtree, worshipped in the churches of all lands. This is but a faint vestige. During the age of the Erdtree, these tiers were used to spread the faith." End quote. Now we know why the age of the Erdtree is referred to in the past tense here, and why its blessings are but mere vestiges. Several obvious questions remain, namely, who, when, and perhaps most pressingly, why. The when is implied by the aforementioned golden seed description.
It's a cool helmet.
To be during the shattering of the Elden Ring.
Hey, Zapper.
Just as the civil war that followed became known as, quote, the shattering of the Elden Ring seems to be describing a specific catastrophe that involved the first burning of the Erdtree. When the player character burns the spectral, illusory Erdtree at the end of the game, they do so in order to brandish the broken Elden Ring and forge a new order of their choosing.
Crazy.
The obvious symmetry of an initial Erdtree burning event which caused the shattering of the ring, and the subsequent burning event which allows its mending, is no doubt deliberate on the part of the developers.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of like... in a way, not to get too like into religion or whatever, but I guess the tree kind of represents an ideology, and a lot of this game is bent around destroying certain ideologies. However, this is definitely presented in a way more physical way. Like, a lot of these beings were physically in the world, considered gods and demigods, and really, really solid evidence of their exist. Like, it's portrayed in a very like within the physical world kind of way. And so I just think it's neat how it kind of represents like a physical thing compared to more of a mental thing, I guess, in the real world or whatever. The destruction of thought, gods with fates. Yeah, it's neat. Yeah, welcome back. Yeah, the alloyed and unalloyed idea is also very, very cool. I don't know, this whole world, it just presents things very interestingly, especially the more I learn about it in these lore videos. It's neat.
Furthermore, the Golden Seed description even tells us the mechanism of this catastrophe, as it states, quote, "When the Elden Ring was shattered, these seeds flew from the Erdtree," end quote. Many species of coniferous tree actually need fire to spread their seeds,
Yep.
a process known as serotiny.
Yep.
Serotinous pine cones are initially dormant, their seeds sealed with resin, but during a forest fire, heat causes the cones to open up, releasing the seeds to be carried by heat drafts.
And that's not the only thing, too. There are other trees that have the seeds all within, like, their trunk that shoot out. And if you were a little too close to them, they could seriously hurt you.
Scatter across the lands. Indeed, many forests actually need periodic fires to maintain the overall health of the forest.
Yeah.
If one does not allow the natural cycle of growth, burning, and regrowth, the entire forest suffers.
It's a cool armor set, by the way.
Likewise, the who in this whodunit is fairly obvious as well.
Yeah.
Melina, the Kindling Maiden. Melina burnt the Erdtree before, though her accomplices are less clear. Indeed, that is why she yet lives, in her own words, quote, "burnt and bodiless," end quote. She is the Kindling Maiden, and when she meets with her mother Marika in the Erdtree, she is reminded of her singular purpose in life, to burn down the Erdtree.
O Erdtree, you shall burn. I wish to journey with you, once more, to the flame of ruin, far above the clouds, upon the snowy mountain tops of the giants. Then I can set the Erdtree aflame and guide you down the path to becoming Elden Lord.
Melina's entire arc, from her coyly offering us an accord, playing the role of maiden, even helping us defeat Morgoth the Omen King, right through to the end of the game, is to fulfill her original purpose given to her by her mother inside the Erdtree, to finish what she started and destroy the Erdtree. The why of this plot is inextricably related to the question of how this first attempt failed, and that is a story for another day. The fallen leaves tell a story indeed.
Oh, God, that was close. That was really close. Oh, man. Damn. Like, that guy almost just got wiped off the census. Oh, no, that was good. That was neat. Alright, okay. That makes sense. That makes everything make a little bit more sense. It does explain all the ash, too. That was... I didn't think of it that way. When I read the description for the seed, I did not pick that up. It's because I've got small brain syndrome. Brain no work, no good syndrome, I like to call it. Yeah. Interesting though. That is very interesting. Okay.